Hello and welcome back to the Mixing Music Podcast. I am your host, Dee Kei, and with me, first time ever, brand new guest, longtime spouse, is my lovely wife, Kayoko.
Hello.
We're here live on the show. For anybody that's listening right now, we are live at like 9 p.m. The kids are asleep. We're live on Twitch, twitch.tv/DKMixes. Everything is going well. The dishes are clean. The house is clean. The tsunamis are in bed. And I wanted to do an episode with Kayoko, my wife, about what it's been like being married to an engineer, producer, musician, the different stages of guilt. And no, just kidding. Yeah, we're trying to figure out. A lot of people have asked me about being married and what it's like being married, doing music for work. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to kind of ask Kayoko, because I could talk about it myself all day, but you've been the one kind of, I don't know. I feel like I've just been doing what I want.
Yeah.
And to a certain degree, you've been supporting me and helpful, and we've been supporting each other all along this way. So we're going to honestly just try to be as open as possible and talk about what it's been like being married. And we're going to start off with this. Kayoko, how did we meet, and how quickly did you know that I do music?
So we met at like the party, like the potluck party.
We met at a potluck party?
Yeah, and at the Okinawan party that I wasn't supposed to be invited. And I don't think we talk much, to be honest, that time.
So we were in Hawaii. We were going to school in Hawaii. And I'm Okinawan. I'm from Okinawa, Japan. Kayoko is from Tokyo area, Japan. And my cousins were hosting an Okinawan party. Now, Okinawa is kind of like the island. It's very islandy, very the Polynesia of Japan, if you wish to say. And we even have a phrase, if everybody's 30 minutes late, nobody's late. So Kayoko from Tokyo, city girl kind of area, basically showed up on time to an Okinawan party. And that was the first dead giveaway that you were not Okinawan.
Yeah, because host wasn't even ready.
The host was just barely coming out of the shower. You were there on time.
Yep, no one's there. Nothing was prepared.
So that's how we met.
Yeah.
And tell them more. What else?
No, like I thought like you were a nice person, but I'm really introvert, quiet. So like my first impression is like, oh cool, but like you're not like the type of the person that I would be friends with. Not that like
I wasn't?
No.
I'm not? Are we friends now?
Yeah.
That
I think so.
That was the least confident answer. Okay. Well, we met. So I was very eccentric.
Yeah, because like you were trying to talk to everybody, and I just like kind of like say hi, like my name is Kayoko, your name Dee Kei. That's about it.
Okay.
That time.
That kind of was about it at that time. We went on a few dates. And eventually we went on a few dates. And how quickly did you find out? I mean, what was I doing in Hawaii, like music-wise? You knew that I was a musician.
No, like first couple couple weeks that I started know, like I didn't really know. But then you kept inviting me to go to the open mic that you're gonna be in. And then you texted me like, are you gonna be there? And then I think I like didn't go the first one.
I don't remember this at all.
Like you texted me.
You didn't come to my first open mic?
Yeah, because I think I had like assignment and I was tired and I don't know why. I didn't even know why you invited me to begin with.
The secret to the story is it was because I liked her.
But then I felt bad. So I went to like a second one.
Why did you feel bad? Because I worked so hard to invite you?
I think the next day I met you, like you were like kind of disappointed, like, oh, you didn't come or something like that. I was like, oh, I should have gone. And then I went to the next one, and I don't know that time, but like you have like the band, like a cover band, and then all the like freshmen, like girls are like, oh my goodness, like DK, and like I was like
I was a
sitting,
lady killer.
and then I was sitting by myself, like the girl next to me was like going crazy, like oh my goodness. It's
Really?
like,
I don't remember.
yeah,
this.
and it's like I was like feeling awkward because I would just be there to support. It's not necessarily I would do anything. And then like the break, like right after you guys perform, you came to me. It's like, how was it? And like I'm like,
How was it?
like
Do you remember?
It was good.
What did I sing or perform?
It's like
Was it with the band?
yeah.
By the way, the band that we had in Hawaii was called Hoopla.
Yeah.
And we did punk pop music, like all American
And then-
rejects.
Like, and then like the girls
punk.
next, like it's like looking at me like DK's talking to her kind of look.
Did you feel cool?
No, awkward. I don't want to get any attention. Like in my mind, like don't come to me, don't come to me.
Okay. So then,
So that's like
what
from
did
the
we
beginning.
sing? Like Gives You Hell or something?
Yeah.
Sounds
And then
about
the Vampire Weekends and stuff.
Oh, we did Vampire Weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I remember that.
So I felt like I liked the music that you performed and stuff, but like I'm not really like never really friend with like musicians.
How was it being friends with the musician for a first time?
That's good. I don't know.
Well,
like I
think-
don't feel like cool or anything like special. Just like the friends who perform and do music.
So maybe we should go back up and say like, because you're Japanese and you grew up in Japan.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Japanese too, but I grew up in the States.
Mm.
So as a Nihonjin in Japan,
Mm.
you listen to a lot of American music growing up, which is not normal.
Yeah.
Because of your mom?
Yes.
So Kayoko is known for like Kayoko knows a lot more like producers and engineers and like songwriters than I do because you
The
actually
old
like
ones.
old ones because you actually like read through album notes.
Yeah, that's like fun, isn't it?
You know, there are many other things that are much more fun.
but why you listen to music, like the first time listen to the album, you want to focus on the like what you're listening to. And if you're gonna listen to the music and want to focus, why don't you just read the booklet?
Okay,
as well.
so you grew up reading booklets, nerd, and you kind of
And also it's in English, so I have to read the like follow the lyrics to understand.
yeah.
And like a Japanese translation to understand what
the
the song's about too. So that's why like I always look at the booklet no matter what.
So how much would you say you listen to music compared to normal people? Do you like music a lot growing up?
I think a little bit more than average people, but I'm not like yes, like I read the booklets and stuff, but I'm not like super like always constantly listen to music. I'm not that type of person.
But you liked music more than average. Anyway, so we're going back into the story. So we started dating eventually, and you were so impressed with my open mic night performance that
I'm more embarrassed.
oh no, the truth.
no, the it's the fact that you came to me and talked to me.
Oh really?
Is the part like if you didn't do anything, I would just leave. And like it was cool. But because
the attention was on me, and then I brought the attention to you.
Yeah.
You were embarrassed.
Yeah. No, like don't.
So what I wanted to hear, what I'm going to hear is you were just so flattered that such a handsome young man came up to talk to you. That's why you were so Is that
No.
Dang it. All right. So anyway, you knew that I was a musician, that I did music. It was all fun and games. I basically went up to you 3 separate times. This is the thing that we said, that 3 separate times, 3 different places, 3 different occasions, 3 different days. I said to her, I'm gonna do music when I grow up. Like me doing music was already decided when before college, and that I had already decided in my heart. So I told her, I'm gonna do music. I'm gonna be loud. My friends are loud. I may not ever be home. We're gonna be broke for our entire marriage. I'm gonna make no money. It's gonna suck. I do not recommend marrying me. Are you sure you want to keep dating and marry me?
I'm not sure if that's specific.
What did I say? Do you remember better?
I'm gonna do music. I'm gonna be loud. My friend's gonna be loud. Is that okay? I think that's...
No, I definitely said the poor thing.
Well, I think I already knew because you're a freshman. Like, what did I expect? Like, being rich in like couple years, married to a freshman?
In college, yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna expect to be like poor for like at least 5 to 10 years. Anyways.
Oh, by the way, yeah, I got married, so I did like a whole like 2-year church mission thing. So I started freshman and college as a 21-year-old. So I was 20. I turned 21. We got married when I was 21, and you were
24.
So Kayoko is 3 years older than me. And it's crazy, right? You married someone younger than you, who's a musician, very eccentric, obviously, who's Okinawan.
I often like look back and think that like why why did I think that it's okay?
Ouch.
like it's not like I'm regret the decision, but like oh my goodness, like I made a crazy decision.
Have you made? Are you known to make crazy decisions? Have you ever made crazy decisions in your life?
No.
So, would you say the craziest decision you've made is to marry me?
I think so.
Okay. Should I ask if it was a good decision?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I would mean like stay married.
At the very, I remind Kayoko that like if she had married a regular Japanese dude, life would have been boring. And she should be grateful that it's fun and entertaining. And you never know what to expect. But anyway, let's move forward. We got married in Japan. We moved to, well, we'll just skip over and basically say we moved to Utah.
Yeah.
We had like in between, I did summer sales in like the Southern Bible Belt for like a little while.
But that's nothing to do with music.
That had nothing to do with music. Actually, so
Texas time maybe.
In Texas. So after that, my parents were living in Texas. So we got married. We had been married. We're freshly married. We went to live with my parents for like, what, 5 months, 6 months? Yeah. That's when I first started working at Guitar Center. Like I got my first job because the sales thing was horrible. Door-to-door sales like just sucked. I went to Guitar Center. I was like, all right, I'm going to do something like music-based. You got a day job. The point was for us to save money. Like we didn't pay rent. We were going to save money so then we can go to Utah so I can finish college.
Because we didn't have to pay rent, like any like food, anything.
Car, nothing. Like our expenses were supposed to be zero.
Yeah, supposed to be.
Did we save any money?
No. Not at all. We lost some money.
Why did we not save any money?
Because you're so happy working at Guitar Center and I have so much discount and I should like invest in so many things, and every week you find something and buy something.
Yes, I spent all the money we made.
And like the month before, a couple weeks before we moved to Utah, you bought a PA system.
I bought a big PA system, that's right.
Like,
because in my mind, I was like, this is a good investment. First off, I got it for like, it was like a $2,000 PA system. I got it for $750. And I was like, I can resell this for more. And I thought if I start a band in Utah, then I would have leverage because then I could say, hey, you want to do a show? I'll open for you if you want to use our PA system. We'll use the PA system for free. You just have to let my band open for you. So I was like, oh, this is leverage. But in her mind, he's spending money.
Yeah, but like...
You were very patient at that time, I'm not going to lie.
Well, like... I think I didn't know enough to against either. So I didn't want to just say no.
You're not really the type of person to say no either.
like if you know what you're spending, like I'm not gonna against it, but like at the same time, like the whole point of we staying here is to save money. Why every time I see the saving account or checking account, it's minus
So
or not making like a penny or a cent, like not.
So tell me, like honestly speaking, because I know lots of people that are listening are having relationships where probably their spouse or they themselves, like money financials is a big part of marriage, and oftentimes the reason why couples have a hard time staying together. It's kind of like one of the make or breaks of marriage. Was that frustrating?
I don't know if I was frustrated. Like,
Did you feel like, of course he would do this, or
I
like,
think
why were you not frustrated? Why was that? Because I would think that it would be extremely frustrating. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we're both working, we're trying to save money. Why were you not frustrated?
I think I felt like I still myself I didn't know what to expect either. So it's like is this how it's supposed to be? Because I know that if you want to start something, you need to invest something. You have to buy equipment, all the stuff.
Of course, starting a business, right?
So like at a certain degree, I understand, but so I don't know. I really don't know. Like
you're also like saver mentality. Like you grew up with parents that like, I mean, being Japanese is pretty common to like save money and be more like in a saving mindset rather than like an investing mindset.
I think it's just like my personality. I like to save money.
Also, like for me, I'm definitely like more like investment mindset, right? So I mean, it's crazy, right? This is something that alone, the decision that I made to invest in equipment could have broken a marriage.
I think
could have broken a relationship.
I think you like convinced me. Like you like always like this is how like you know just like PS system. Like I said like like do we really need this? Like we're gonna move to Utah by car. We don't want more stuff to bring anyways. Like do we really need? But like you explained that like what you said. So like
very convincing. I'm very
like
convincing.
As long as like to me it's like as long as you know what you're doing, like maybe like more than half, like 50% or more, then like I'll let you do. And then if something come up, like you need to figure out. I'm not gonna do it, you know?
At this time, did I have like a solid plan of what was gonna happen? It was more like I was investing in to start a business and save up for equipment, but like, did I have a solid plan? Like,
no, cause that's the time like when we got married, you said you want to do music, but you say like you want to be a producer. And then we moved to the Texas time. You like reconnect with your old band friends. And then you said like
from high school.
And then you said, oh, let's start the band. And then you said, I'm gonna be a rock star. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, I had a whole rock star phase, and I would like I would like say that every day, like for affirmation. I would make the entire band say it. I'd be like, "We're gonna be rock stars." You say it out loud. And I make every band member say it.
It's so funny that like it's not like is that would be okay that if gonna be a rock star? Like it's not the question. It's I'm gonna be a rock star. Is that okay?
So I mean, I think this is the one thing to say too. Like, have I ever hesitated with my goals?
No.
Like, would you say that I'm more goal-driven than normal people?
I think so. And I know that, like, being rockstar is, like, not, at a certain degree, it's not, like, really realistic job to, like, you know, say, like, as a married man. But I feel like because you're so confident, like, I knew that, like, you figure out something, you know, maybe exactly like rockstar, but, like, you makes things work out. So like I thought it was okay. And then like I said, like first couple of years of marriage, like we're gonna be poor anyway. So like why don't you just do whatever you want? Like I didn't really expect to do.
So anyway, we're gonna move along. We go to Utah. I did not own the studio at first. And eventually we took a big risk. I mean, I was going to school full time. Eventually, like literally a year after we moved out, I met up with some friends. There was an investment opportunity. Took out a loan basically, and started the studio. Now we have 2 rents to pay. Do you remember that? How did you
Yeah.
feel about me starting a studio? Was that a surprise?
Like the Cold House?
Yeah.
No, because remember that you were doing your own our apartment, and then there's an issue with the landlord that like
You being too loud.
Yeah, too loud. So we have to move out. So it was perfect that like because we are looking for housing that like it's like sound we can make it soundproof and like you can do music and like have our own space. So like we were kind of looking at like 2-bedroom housing or something that it was impossible to find that time. So like
I remember the options were either a house, an isolated house with at least 2 bedrooms, or get a studio and an apartment.
Yeah, so to me it's like I felt like, oh, like great, like you have a other place that you can work, and we don't have to like we can just look at like a cheap like small apartment that will be okay.
And I do remember the first when I was working out of the apartment the first time before Cold House, there was a couple other like regular concerns, like you were not comfortable with strangers coming to the house when I was not home.
Yeah, because like there's a couple times like someone knocked the door open. I have no idea who that is, and like I came
my customers or like my friends or whatever.
I came to record with like Dee Kei, and like, do I supposed to let them in or like what? Like
so that was like a poignant point of concern in the sense that like you were like, hey, I don't really like that.
Yeah,
and you voiced that.
Yeah,
and so that was part of the reason as well. Is like we wanted an isolated room that or like a garage, an external garage where like there's a separate entrance for that. Anyway, Cold House just solved a lot of problems.
Yeah,
for
and
us.
then you were doing band practice too. So
yeah, I remember that.
It was like when you had a band, like there was like 6 of them, and like squishing into the one room ish. So hot, like I couldn't really do anything.
So when we opened Cold House, which is like 2 big rooms and a small upstairs. So, and I was paying, it's Utah. Remember, these are Utah prices. It was a shack. It was its own shack. Looked like a meth house from the outside. On the inside, it was nice and well built out. But I think it was like $650 or $750 a month plus utilities. So it ended up being like $900 to $1,000 a month for everything. And our personal 1-2 bedroom apartment that we had in Utah was like $800 a month or something like that at the time. So it was a little bit more than our regular apartment. So we just doubled our rent. You were working full time. I think you were working a little bit more. You had a full-time job and a part-time job.
At the time, I was double work. Well, like
so you were working like 60 hours a week.
No, 40 hours.
40 hours? Oh, you had 2 part-time jobs to make 40 hours.
No. Yeah, like 20, 40, but I started working like 30 hours, like 50 hours a week.
So basically, the way that we were going to distribute responsibility was I was going to work to pay for the studio rent because we could not afford to pay from our personal pocket to pay the studio rent. We had to make profit or at least break even from month 1. That was the only way we could make it work. Kayoko was, and her deal, and this kind of, we kind of talked about it, but it kind of happened naturally. We agreed that like you were basically going to pay for the house rent, and I was eventually going to start paying for the apartment rent as well as soon as I could. But it took about like 2-3 years.
Yeah, it's.
Do you remember that period, that 2-3 years of how long I was working and how hard you were working and what that was like? We didn't have any kids at this time.
Yeah, well, like from the beginning, like since we moved to Utah, like I knew that I was supposed to work because I'm not going to school and stuff. And first couple months, I thought like you gonna when you started at the like just like own room studio thing, like a mixing, like just started, like you only charge like $10-$20 an hour for mixing
from the apartment before.
Before Cold House, and then you said that like all the money is gonna go to our bank account, and I'm gonna distribute, contribute. And then like a month after, like I was asking you like how's it going, like are you gonna like be able to like contribute some money to, our rent and stuff. And then you start saying like, oh, this is a business. So what I earn, I need to invest it to new equipment. And you need to do all that.
You're making me sound really manipulative.
Well, that's what you said.
I was really manipulative.
And then like I need, so it has to like go like as a cycle. So I can just take all money, as I earn, like, which I understand. Like, I know. I
don't understand. Like you recalling this makes me be like, wow, I was stupid. I was stupid. Did you really understand? I don't understand.
Well, I know how business works, like a little bit, like basic stuff. So like,
I did not.
Like, this is different from what I heard from the beginning, but like,
I was just really convincing.
But then like, well, if I argue, like, are we gonna get more money? Like, no. And you're not gonna get any equipment? No, like, you're still gonna buy equipment and stuff to upgrade stuff. You're gonna spend money anyways? So like, oh, okay, I'll forget about it. Like,
so you just took the passive route because it was easier. Which is kind of dangerous, but also good thing it was me. I'm not the dumbest. I'm pretty dumb, but not the dumbest. And we made it work. Somehow we made it work. Cold House was profitable from month one. Remember when I was working like 60, 80, 100 hours a week and going to school full time?
Yeah. Did you ever see me? No. Nope.
But I mean, that was also like part of the reason why it was good that you were working, because you weren't bored either.
I was busy too.
Yeah.
I was like working really late.
Was that stressful that I was working so long?
No.
Did you like not love me?
What kind of questions are
I mean, I was gone for so long. Like, you didn't miss me at all? Pressure.
Like, yeah, at the like, yeah, like I want to see you and spend time with you. But at the time, like, we were all focusing on like keep everything going.
Yeah.
At the time we didn't have kids, so it's like, I can take care of myself. I'm working. I didn't really have social life, but it was okay.
I mean, compared to now, do you feel like even then when we were busy, did you feel like we got to spend a lot more time together as a couple, like by ourselves, than we do now with kids? Did you feel like we were busier then, in memory? Do you feel like we were busier then or we were busier now?
I don't know.
Because I definitely don't work. I barely work, maybe.
But I'm busy.
This last couple weeks I've been working like 60 hours a week. But like I try not to work any more than like 40 at most.
I don't know.
But I feel like I'm busy now, but like different because we have kids.
Yeah, it's like a different, The
point that I'm trying to make is like when you're single and you don't have kids, I'm busy is not an excuse. Is I think what I'm trying to make here. But on the live stream, on Twitch, Mitch asks, question for Kayoko: is there anything that Dee Kei did or said that made you more comfortable throughout his process? Throughout this process, is there anything that I said that made you like motto anshin suru, like more like comfortable?
Like being like engineer?
Anything, just anything, like through all of our struggles.
I don't know.
Was it anything I did? Was there anything that I did or say that made you feel any sort of comfort?
I don't know. I don't feel like I didn't have time to like be anxious or like.
Oh, he clarified throughout his process of making a lot of investments and spending a lot of time working.
Yeah.
Was it ever uncomfortable? You're not the type of person to get uncomfortable.
I wasn't uncomfortable. Like sometimes like part of me thinking like, is it necessary? Like I think it'll be a little bit like if he make a big purchase and like show me like what he bought, like that's make me like, okay, that's what you buy. But sometimes like I see like a bank account and like I have no idea what he spent it on. And if he can explain this is like for, like a software, like that like make it clear, like I'll be okay.
Yeah. And granted, I will be very clear and say at no point did I ever use credit. As in, we were never in debt.
Yeah.
We were never in debt.
You
so
never
we never
take-
went negative.
Yeah,
ever.
so I think that's a part of
And
that
I would say
didn't
that's
feel
a big point because there are some marriages where they marry into debt or one of the spouse, man or woman, just has a spending problem and like no matter how much you tell them we don't have enough money to spend, you need to stop using the credit cards.
Yeah.
They just continuously spend.
So I think we knew that like how much we're spending, like even you spend a lot of money, but like I knew that we can pay rent and pay groceries and utility like fine. And
Our
if it's like
necessities were covered.
yeah, so I wasn't worried.
Yeah.
I think that's
So there was no
Yeah.
worry because we were never in debt, which I do recommend. Like I recommend anybody like get out of debt, stay out of debt. That does relieve a lot of stress. And in our case, we never had it. Well, I didn't get into any sort of debt at all, smart or otherwise. Until before I moved out, when I bought my ATCs, I bought it on credit
yeah,
with
that's
like monthly,
but
like
that's the
no
only
interest monthly
thing.
installment. That's like the only thing.
yeah.
Which is to me month free. I mean, we had the money to pay in cash, but the thing was like, it was free money. It's free money. I mean, like no interest payments. That was the only thing that we had. And my potential income would increase over the course of the year. I'm not recommending anybody do like monthly installments because it's free monthly
Yeah.
installments, but like, and it was a smart decision to say the least.
And I think it's a working part is that like you always like nowadays he doesn't much, but like back in when we lived in Utah, you started like you always share like what like recording session you did or like
I was
you-
very open and communicative with what I was doing.
like yeah, like this is a mix that I did. Like you share like even though like I enjoyed it. Sometimes maybe I don't really care much, but like at least I know what he's working on. So
you were very
and
much part of my process and part of my celebrations, and
then
that was comfortable for you. That made it a little bit easier to digest.
and then also like he introduced a lot of like friends that he made at the studio, and like I'm having a hard time keep track. Like, have I met you? No, I don't know, but like everybody's so nice. So like, oh, Dee Kei is so awesome, and like he's doing great job. Like he recorded our band, like it was great. Like they like share what also share what he's doing.
Did that make me any more attractive to you? Were you like, Dee Kei's so hot because all of his friends think he's so cool? Was that ever any point? Crossing my fingers here.
I felt more like
the answer is no.
no, I felt more like like he's doing great, like he's doing what he want to do, like he's making progress, he's towards his goal. Like that's more like comfort than like oh, like he's cool, like I'm a cool girl, like he's my husband.
Did you feel cool? Did my coolness
No.
rub off on you?
No,
I think you're cool.
because that's your thing. It's like nothing to do with me.
Okay. So anyway, we got Cole House. We eventually had kids. And I'm trying to get more information out of these for like people to kind of relate to and kind of get some information out of. But eventually we had kids. The plan was she was going to work during the day and I would watch kids and I would work at night. And
No, I
watch
was
kids during the
working
day.
at night.
Oh, you were working at night. I was going to watch kids during the day or work during the day.
Because you have school.
Yeah, work and go to school during the day. We would swap. You would work at night. I would watch the kids at night. After 5 to 7 days,
I still remember.
I had the babies would not sleep. Kaname would not sleep at
Well,
night.
he was 3 months.
It was 3 months, of course. The first 3 months first 3 to 6 months are always horrible with sleep, but not sleep. I woke up like for the first time ever like sympathized with baby shakers. Like I had a full mental breakdown. I was like, I need sleep. Because granted, I was with the amount of time I was spending at work and with school, I was sleeping maybe 5 to 6 hours a day
Yeah,
if
that
I was
time
lucky.
you didn't
And so
sleep.
I was losing my mind. And I'm the type of person, unfortunately, like some people can sleep 5 to 7 hours and be totally fine. I'm the type of person where like 8 hours is not enough. So like me sacrificing sleep, I was angry. I was upset. I was emotionally distraught. Had a mental breakdown. I was gonna shake the baby because he would not shut up.
That was like
so I
a
put the baby in the closet, and I was just like, I like woke Kayako up, and I was like, I'm sorry, I cannot do this right now.
No, that's when we
Talking about babies crying. One of them's awake now, but
Yeah.
but seriously though, like there was a point where like I went up to you and I said, after like 5 to 7 days of you working, I said, you need to quit. We're not making enough money to pay house rent and studio rent, but this is not working. I can't do this, basically. And so I
remember
forced you to
like
quit.
you came like holding like baby and like, could you quit your job? I'd rather be poor than like me not being productive. That's what you said.
I guess I felt unproductive taking care of a child rather than working, and that's kind of sad. But it was very strong. It just did not work for me. For some parents, it works really well. So I was like, "Yo, I know that we're making more money, and this is way more. We're saving money." But I was like, emotionally, this is not feasible. Like, I cannot do this.
And I was okay staying at home.
Yeah, and I mean, we are Japanese, right? It's the honorable, it's the common sense thing to do for the wife to be stay at home, right?
Yeah.
It's the opposite of America. It's women in Japanese culture. Typically, women don't really want to work; they'd rather be mothers at home.
It depends.
I mean, it totally depends, but I mean, compared to America,
Yeah.
So anyway, that was kind of the expectation. We didn't really. That was it. Like we tried, we didn't work. And
that was like a first time that like I don't make any money. We're gonna
it was
like
scary. It was so scary because I was not making enough to pay both rents.
Good luck.
I was not making enough.
Hoping that we can pay rent.
And I wasn't about to get a part-time or full-time job either. Like I was.
No, you did a little
prideful. No, not during that time. After I quit the Guitar Center was the last time.
That's true.
So for like 3 months, I remember for 3 months after that, we paid for our house rent partially with our savings. So like our savings went down quite a bit.
Oh,
you might want to go. I'll continue the story, but Kaiko's gonna go take care of the child for a moment. But that time, yeah, I was like, I was not making enough money to pay both rents. Then we were going into savings for 3 months, and on the 4th or 5th month, I finally made enough money to barely break even. And I think I went back into savings to pay rent, apartment rent, like a little bit, like a month after that or two. And after that, it was kind of like sketchy. It was like red, green, red, green. It wasn't really consistent. It took like a full-on year after that for it to be like really consistent, I would say, where it was consistently we were going to break even. And I would say that was a really scary time. And Kayako's putting the kid to bed right now, so I'm going to keep talking. But it was really scary. It was frustrating, and at the same time, like for me, I had no other choice. There was no plan B. I was convinced I was never going to get another job ever again, and so I hustled like crazy. And this is Kaname was born in July, so summertime I was doing theory. Spring and summer I took theory classes. So theory, I was like 4 hours of homework a night. It was horrible because I'm bad at theory. Like that was just, I didn't do classical piano or classical instruments growing up. So it was just really hard and difficult for me. It was like math, basically, way too much math. And it took me a long time to wrap my head around it. So I was getting 3 hours of sleep a night on top of working 100 hours at the studio because it was busy season in summertime. So I was like brain dead. I would literally, like, in the middle of recording sessions, I would pass out on the desk. And it was bad. Clients noticed, I noticed, wife was noticed. Kayako, you could tell that she's really, really chill. So there was never, she's not eccentric at all. And that was definitely a choice that I made. So while she's away, I'm going to say something very important. Is that if you are planning on getting married, if you're thinking about having a relationship, which I totally support if you're trying to do a music career, I'm going to tell you something honestly right now. This is going to hurt a lot of people. If you are married, you are committed to that relationship, though no matter how difficult it is, you should be committed. Divorce shouldn't be an option, not because it's bad and it's looked down on. No, not at all. So there's some relationships there should be divorce, especially abusive ones. Get out of that quickly, right? But if it's an option, if you have a plan B, then you won't work as hard on plan A, right? With us, with me and Kayako, like I'm very proud to say in our 7 years now, next week it'll be 7 years, in our 7 years of being married, we have never fought once. And this is the thing that's going to hurt some people. I firmly believe that who you decide to have a relationship with and who you decide to marry will make or break the happiness that you have in your marriage. I hear so often people say marriage is supposed to be hard. It is hard, and I think there are parts of it that are hard. But relative to the expectations that were set, my marriage with Kayoko, and Kayoko can agree, has been easy, even with the problems that we've had. Has been immensely easy. Maybe that's partially due to gratitude and expectations, but I mostly think it was because I picked the right person for me. I knew that I was very yin, very feminine energy, very chaotic, very creative, and I was looking for a yang. So a little secret about me, I do not flex this at all. And I hope that my ex-girlfriend does not ever hear this, because I've never said this publicly out loud, only in private conversations. But I had an on and off girlfriend for like a couple years, freshman, 8th grade to like sophomore year-ish. Broke my heart. Sure, we'll call it that. And I honestly just wanted to make her feel really bad, and I got really petty. And so I decided I would go on a date with a different girl every weekend for the rest of my high school career, and I did. So I went on like 100 and 150. They never went far. Like I wasn't trying to kiss every single one of them. They were just dates, right? 100 to 150 dates during my high school career. I had enough experience with talking to girls and trying to build substantial relationships, non-platonic relationships, that I knew what I wanted. I knew what kind of personalities were good for me, that stimulated growth and was healthy, and some that were toxic. And I knew that, like, me hanging out with another super eccentric person, like, I love Lu to death. But if I married a girl, a Lu type girl, I know that would never work out with me. I can't. If I married like a super alpha female girl, that wouldn't work out with me either, because I'm an alpha male. I really am. If she wasn't creative, I knew that wouldn't work out. There was different things that I knew wouldn't work out. And I don't think everybody has the opportunity to do that. And some people are more introverted, extroverted. I'm not saying you have to go on a shit ton of dates, and some people feel like they're limited in option, which is fair. So I'm not looking down on any of that with who to marry, who to date. But I will say, especially as much as you're in control, who you choose to marry has a big impact on your happiness and your marriage. I was going to say, like, I was telling everybody, do you think our marriage has been hard?
No. Like, I don't think that's hard. Like,
Why?
Like,
do we get along?
Yeah. Like,
and why do you think we get along? I mean, we talked about the other day, like, we were trying to talk to my brother's getting married in a couple weeks, and he was talking to us like, whoa, like, give us some marriage advice. And we were trying to give some marriage advice. What do you think is the secret that we've been able to stay so happily together? Like, we've never had any big issues or arguments.
Yeah.
Never been jealous of each other. It's always been super chill. And life has been difficult for us. We've been poor. It's strenuous.
Well, first of all, like, if you, like, one of the spouse, like, trying to, like, you know, make a career out of, like, music, or, like, I'm doing art, you know, like, some, like, not easy path, like, you have to kind of, like, do it your own. Like, you don't expect to be financially stable for a while. Like, I'm hoping that it will
it was more like, so we were talking about this before. You were saying that it's more like we had low expectations to begin with.
Yeah, because you're a freshman, you're just talking about all the dreams and goals. Like you're not gonna finish college first. You're not gonna make a lot of money, and you're gonna do music. It will take some time to make money from music.
Especially as a freelancer, yeah.
So, like,
you kind of expected it.
Yeah.
I mean, you had your expectations properly set.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think that's the secret too. There's a lot of gratitude as well. Like be grateful
No.
for what we did have. Granted, I think this has partially to do with it too. I don't mean to bring this up and be public, but like I grew up in a upper middle class, lower high class family. Like we weren't like crazy rich, but we've never had any money. Like if I wanted something, I got it. My dad worked really hard. I never saw him. He was like the classic American dream, like was poor and then climbed the corporate ladder and did really well. And now he's like a bigwig at IBM and he makes a lot of money and he invests in like a lot of money into different stocks that have made him more money. And he's definitely like a day trader type on top of his full corporate job. Kayoko, on the other hand, like totally immigrant Chinese dad living in Japan who like immigrants in Japan do not make money, unlike America. And
But he working for like other.
yeah, and
But we're
mom
not-
was stay at home. Like it was definitely not in the same financial situation. And then, if I may say out loud, like right after you graduated high school, was it after you graduated high school? During high
No,
school,
when I was 21.
when you were 21, your father passed away. So before we met,
Yeah.
which kind of threw a financial wrench into your family's thing. So like, I don't want to say that. So the one thing that I learned from my relationship with my family is that in no way did things or money ever make any of us happy. If we were all forced to sit into a room in a living room for 12 hours, someone is going to get stabbed. And I'm not making this up because many times siblings have pulled knives out on each other in my household. All right? It was bad. In your household, if you were forced to stay together for 3 months in the same room, everybody would become better friends. And honestly speaking, that's what I wanted as well. So, sorry, I kind of went on a tangent, but okay, let's go back into, I want to talk to you more and ask you some more questions here. Okay, so we started doing well with Cold House. When did you feel like you started getting comfortable with the idea of like me working full time and doing music? Was it ever like, did you ever be like, oh, now I can kind of relax a little bit? Or did you feel like you were relaxed from the start?
Like, what does it mean? Like,
I don't know. Was there ever a point where like I was making enough money, I was doing well enough that like you can like, it wasn't as stressful anymore?
like you just working full time like now?
When is the least stressful time in our marriage for you?
Like financially?
Just in general. Life.
Stressful?
The least stressful.
Least stressful. I don't know. I don't really.
Does that mean everything was stressful or does that mean nothing
No,
was
it's
stressful?
nothing was like that stressful. Maybe like last year you were away, like we both like live.
Okay.
I think that's the only time.
We'll get into that conversation in a second.
But I don't think so. Like, yeah, like our budget was tight sometimes, but like we're already poor, so like nothing get worse than this, you know?
I do think I honestly think again I honestly think this is also just like a bunch of luck. Like we're really lucky. And like there were so many things that I learned about you after getting married that I didn't realize would be so compatible with me. And you're just like a low stress, no drama type girl. You have like a lot of yin masculine energy. Like you have a lower talking voice than I do, and I think now we right? I don't know what it is. But anyway, we're gonna move into the next part of our lives when we had our second baby. So real briefly, I want to go back to what happened when we moved to LA. So just to kind of recap, when we moved to LA, it was very difficult. I had a label thing going, a community, a group of artists that I really, truly believed in. And the goal was we were going to move to LA and continue to try to seek a career for all of us as artists, me as a producer, engineer, in California. So it was going to like scale, to pursue the next steps in my career, our careers. And we did. And I planned on it. I moved out. You were pregnant with our second baby. I got you pregnant on purpose. And
it's not accident.
and we had Utah insurance. So the deal was we ended up staying with my parents again.
Yeah.
One more time. And because they had just moved to Utah when we moved out. And you were living with them, raising Kaname-kun and Kaname, and gonna have the baby in Utah. Baby was due in October.
October 14th.
I moved to LA July. Started in the Mix Studios in August 2020. So moved to LA August 2020 or July 2020. Opened the studio the next month, August 2020, with Lu, and it was tough and it was really difficult. And you had the baby
in September,
a month early. I totally missed it. Like you were, you had.
I'm trying to hold it.
Thank you for the effort. But missed the baby. We found out that he had Down syndrome, which means that he has, usually Down syndrome kids have a weak heart. So he needed to get open heart surgery, but the doctors are trying to avoid giving him open heart surgery until 6 months of age. So he was stuck in NICU for 6 months minimum.
Well, usually like most of the kids will be discharged and wait till the open heart surgery. But
okay, so they usually get discharged and then they come back for open heart surgery.
But my boy was he has a respiratory issue that he couldn't get the nasal thing out.
Oh, he couldn't get his oxygen out. Like every time they tried to take it out, wean him off the oxygen, his oxygen levels dipped.
So they couldn't discharge.
So that was probably the most stressful time in my career. Actually, that was probably the most stressful time in my entire life, was during that time when we were apart for so long. If you can tell, I rely heavily on the emotional support of my wife. Being along that long was really, really horrifying. I'm the one that wants to cuddle, and that was really hard. Lots of guilt because, having a disabled child was really freaky and difficult and hard. And for some reason, I felt like it was my fault, which makes no sense in hindsight, right? Probably, and any therapist would tell me that. But for some reason, I felt really guilty. I missed it. I felt like I'm causing a lot of stress on my wife that I wasn't home. We were just starting the studio, so I needed to be out there. So what I would do is basically I'd go out to LA for a month, and then come back to Utah for a week, and then go back out for a month. And on New Year's, it was just no longer feasible. We left my parents' house after a lot of, we'll just call it drama. After a lot of drama, left my parents' house. We kind of cut off ties with my parents, unfortunately, and paying double rent. And I started coming back to Utah every weekend. And the baby was still in the hospital, and you were going out to see the baby every single week, every single day. Kaname wasn't seeing dad. It was just a smorgasbord of just unhappiness. I got depressed.
I wasn't
really depressed.
Unhappy.
Well, yeah, you were pretty chill. I mean, but I was stressed out with work, with money, and not too much with money. I mean, we were making enough, but it was just absolutely stressful for me. And honestly, you have a lot of you stabilize me a lot. So like when we weren't together, I adventured into like psychedelics, and I had a medicinal license for marijuana, so I started smoking for the first time ever. Never drank. I don't do that. And it was just like depression. It got really, really bad. People screwed me over big time. I got law enforcement involved and lawyers involved with something, and it was just a bad time in my life. Probably the hardest time ever in my entire life. I just wanted to see my kids. I just wanted them to come home, but we didn't, there was no home. It was we were in between Utah and LA. And then about 8 months after the baby was born, finally,
it's 6 months.
No, it was 6.5, 7 months.
Like 6.5.
Yeah, finally the baby, Kyo was discharged. He healed up really quickly after the surgery. Everything went really well. He got discharged. It was finally time after about a month after that, a month and a half, 2 months after that.
2 months after we moved.
we finally committed to moving to LA as a family. I found an apartment a block away, a new apartment a block away from the studio. So like I live walking distance, 2 minutes by walk from In the Mix Studios. And that's where we're at now. And things have been smooth ever since. Granted, there was a lot of gratitude because of how hard things were. Now I just kind of briefly told what happened, but from your perspective, how was that?
The whole thing, the
whole
past
thing.
year.
Were you upset that I tried to, work on my career?
No, because
did you feel like I was being selfish? Because I was worried that I was being selfish.
Well, like of course, like I wish that you'll be here, like close to us, but then I knew that like we were always talking, like the goal was to move to LA or New York eventually, like a bigger city that like you can pursue your career. And then like Utah is a good place, but if you want to achieve like reach your goals, like this is not the place to be. And to me it's like I can live wherever, like I can
Utah, we knew that Utah was not home for us.
And if it's like I understand like now you the one like provide families like everything. So if this is not the place to be to like support your family and reach your goals, like I'm totally understand that like you want to move to LA. It's like total natural thing. And I was kind of like thinking about the timing things, like why like can you wait? But then but also like why you wait. So I understood that like whole circumstances of why you want to do it. So I wasn't like I never felt like you shouldn't do this or do that or like blaming on you or anything. But like and at the same time,
honestly,
like
we didn't plan on it. Like we were planning on you moving to LA as soon as we had the baby. Like we would spend Thanksgiving with my family. And then we would just move to LA as a family. Like we wanted to be in LA. It's closer to get tickets to Japan, go back to see family. There's a lot of Japanese stuff going on, and like deep down, we're really Japanese. Both of us, we speak Japanese at home. And this is actually, I want to say, like it's not normal. Well, it's not uncommon, but we're trying really hard to speak English 100% of the time right now. We don't usually communicate like this. We speak Japanese like half and half, like Japanglish. But we were planning on moving to LA. Like that was the move. We knew it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't supposed to be so hard. It was the dang unexpected NICU stay.
Yeah, but at the same time, because like the things that you went through with your people that time, like I partially glad that we didn't move right away.
Things worked out because it was the original roommates that we had legal issues with, and it was quite scary to be frankly honest.
So like it was really unfortunate for you to go through that process, but like at the same time, like I really like glad that I like me and my kids weren't there. You know? And then we like clear everything. We got our own apartment, like, close to studio. Like everything's like so nice and we figure out and we move. So I think ended up work fine.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're very, very grateful that we didn't have to move in with those initial roommates. And I won't get too much deep into it, but things worked out for the better in general. And ever since you moved to LA, it's been now almost a year. It's actually been 1 year now since we've moved here. Almost a year since we've moved together.
End of this month.
And it's quite frankly, in retrospect, this entire year has been amazing. Because I now have this studio set up at home and I don't have to be at the studio, even though it's only a block away. I'm spending so much time with kids. Like the first time, like when you came back, like I told you that I was scared that it didn't feel like we were a 4-piece family. It felt like we were a 3-piece and a 1-piece. Like I didn't feel like, because we were gone for so long, I was gone for so long that it felt like I wasn't part of the family anymore. And it took a long time of getting back together and spending time with each other for me to get comfortable with that. extremely distressful for me, and probably one of the biggest. I don't think I can quite express how difficult that time in my life was for me and how much it changed, but how much I'm grateful for and how much I'm able to enjoy the company of my kids and family now. I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, like this is like you don't typically get advice from strangers. Like people don't come up to you because of the color of your hair or anything like that and start giving you advice on how you should live life, except for one specific thing that people come up to us and give us uninvited but welcomed advice all the time is they come up to us, say, "Oh my gosh, your kids are so cute. This is the best time this is the best time age because you're spending so much time with them. Like you can't get this back. Like please make sure to spend as much time with them at this age as possible because you're not going to get this time back." Like we've had that many times since we've had our children. And I feel like now, because of the trauma that I had and the gratitude that I have now, I feel like I'm doing a damn good job spending a lot of time with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Something that my father never gave me.
But I also feel like because you spend so many hours before we have kids, like, because I feel like if you have kids like right away, it might have been a different story.
Oh, like if I was trying to build my music career like if I hadn't started solo, you know what I'm saying? Okay, is that what you're saying? Like it was glad that we were married, but didn't have any kids for the first few years.
Yeah.
And we had kids pretty quick. Like Kaname's now like turning 4 and I'm turning 29. So that means.
No, we like after 3 years.
3-4 years. Yeah, something like that. We've had our first kid. So it was like relatively quick. Again, we're really, really young parents and young married couple. It's very rare to see in this day and age, but
it's never gonna be like we're ready to have kids, you know?
So before we talk about the future, let's talk about the present. How do you feel about me doing music now? I mean, it's calmed down a lot. It's normal now.
Yeah, well, it's been 7 years, so like I don't really have anything else to compare to either. It's like,
I mean, compared to the last 7 years, how is it now?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. Like
You're okay being the wife of a musician?
Yeah. I think when you're like performing, I feel like I like make sure I support you. You know, like
and
I go to the shows
yeah.
and stuff. Like I enjoyed it, but like, you know, that type of like different type of support. But right now you just work at home. It's just any other guy. Just
I'm not as exciting anymore. No, just kidding.
it's just like you hear music from his office.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's different from any other job. You know?
It's stabilized a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's actually really awesome. There was, and I want to celebrate. I try to celebrate as much as possible, small things too. Just try to promote gratitude and having enough. But I was talking to one of our runners at the studio and I was like, you know, the awesome thing about LA is the minimum wage, and if things get really bad, I can get a part-time job for $15 an hour and minimum wage $15 an hour, and I can pay rent and I would do well. I'd cover all of our bases. And then I thought about it and calculated how much 20 hours a week for 4 weeks would make at $15 an hour. And then for the first time in my life, I realized, oh my gosh, if at any point I stopped work in order to do a part-time job, I would lose money.
Mm.
And that was a crazy time. Like now we're stable enough where I can't look back. We're past the point of no return now.
Mm.
And how is it emotionally for you? I mean, things are good. Things are stable.
Yeah, I think so.
But then again, even when things were hectic, you weren't.
Well, like what was I gonna say? Like get job? I don't know.
I want to ask you, like, you've been able to. So most people during hard times change or become more, you know, people tend to complain or like, you know, it becomes really confusing whether or not to support your spouse or you know, people want their husbands or wives to change over time, and that's weird expectations, right? I think it's really incredible. I don't know if I could do it if I were in your shoes. I think it's incredible that you've been able to stay relatively calm and composed and never scared at any point during my career. What's the secret? Why? How have you been able to do that?
Sorry, I zoned out a little bit.
No, but you've been able to be like calm and like you were never scared or like you never freaked out at any point during our career, no matter how stressful it's been. How have you been able to stay calm? Is it just a personality thing? I mean, because you've talked about logical reasons where it's like, even if you freaked out, nothing would change, and you like you're aware of that. But what is it?
I don't know. Sorry. I'm trying to think.
I think it's definitely partially personality. I think you're very self-aware and very intelligent. And I know you don't like me complimenting you, but
yeah.
But I'm saying that out loud. I think it's true. Say goodnight to Mitch.
Good night, Mitch. What? I don't know. I felt like because we really like you're really committed to what you do, even though it changes throughout the year. Like it's staying the music, but like you change, you know, like want to be a producer, like you want to be a rock star, you want to be like studio owner, you want to be an engineer. Like it changed, but you like every step of the like phase, like every phase, like you're like really committed.
Do you think that my commitment to the craft and my commitment made you feel like unshin or like what is unshin in like English, like secure about my decision? You felt okay?
Yeah.
You felt calm because I was so committed.
Cause you were so committed, and yeah, like you didn't make much money for first couple years, but you're so committed and you put so much work and effort, time. You sacrifice a lot of things.
The effort.
Yeah, so I felt like
something's gonna work out.
Something's gonna work out. So if you're like laying down bed, like, oh, like I wish I had more gigs, or like do saying something like that, then like no, get a job. But you're like constantly working on something, try something new, something different. That I felt like if something didn't work out with this one, like being rockstar, he will find something else that like work out, or like. Because you're really committed to this relationship, you will find a way, like you get a job, if nothing work out, like you would do something. You're not going to sit down and like, I'm sorry, I couldn't do this. Please still working, make money for us. Like you wouldn't do that. Like I knew that.
I do think, what if I did the opposite thing? What if I was like, not lazy, but what if I wasn't sure and I was always contemplating, do I really want to do this? Is this really right for me? And I never committed. Would that make you feel more uncomfortable?
Yeah. Then don't do it.
No, for sure. So, which is really interesting to think about. By the way, I know that I'm narrow-sighted, and there's so much more than our relationship. And there's the dynamics between relationships are so wildly different between different marriages and different relationships. And I'm only really looking at this from the perspective of what I understand, and I'm aware of that. But I'm really hoping, whether out of good example or bad example, that anybody listening right now can learn something from us, something to avoid or something to try out. Or I hope at the very least you learn that the importance of being honest with each other. How often do we talk, like about serious, important matters? Like every day, at least a little bit.
Do we?
Yeah, お風呂の中にいつも話してるじゃん。
Yeah, we talk. You talk.
I talk.
I listen.
Talk a lot. Kayoko is my therapist. We don't do a lot of like small talk. We rarely, Like, I feel like with my ex-girlfriends, like, we would text all the time, all day, every day, and stay on the phone all night until one
Well,
of us falls
that's
asleep.
because you're dating. It's different from marriage.
Like, I don't even when we were dating, you never texted me. No, I texted you like, let's hang out. That was it. We never really like heavy text or heavy communicate, but we've talked a lot about important things.
I
Talked
think
a lot
so.
about like how to raise children, how we want to punish children, how we want to like about music career, about finances. We've talked a lot about important things. I would say like almost every day.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess that's not.
I don't remember.
But yeah. Anyway, what about the future? What are you looking forward to? Like, how do I explain this? I'm trying to express this correctly. Like, you're not my music career. Does that make sense?
Mm.
I would definitely say I wouldn't have my music career without you, for sure, 100%.
Mm.
But let's say as I grow my music career, does that change how you look at me, or will that change how our family is?
Would you say that again?
Like, the more awards I get, the more recognition I get, the more money we make, or anything like that. Do you think that will change our relationship as a
No.
couple? What about
No.
as a family?
I don't think so.
Why would you say no, it wouldn't change?
Because even now, like, you told me that, like, you know, here and there, like, you work with, like, super famous people, like, came to a recording studio, you went to work, you know, the big name, which I don't really know most of them. But then, like, and some I know. But, like, to me, it's like, as long as you're happy in your career and provide family, that's all it matters. Like, it's not like I'm gonna like, oh my goodness, DK get that hour, I'm gonna brag about it to all my friends. No. And it doesn't make, that's like confident booster for you, and it makes you happy in a like good way and then progress as a career. But like, it doesn't really mean anything as in like having like relationship between as in couple and as a family. Like, all we see is daddy's working hard, you know, like from kids, like daddy's working hard for us, and like we have food on the table, we go out once in a while to have fun, like go to the beach, you know, and daddy's happy, I'm happy. I think that's all it matters. Like, our doesn't do anything.
Yeah. I think so now, especially with the stability that we have. All right, we're going to end this episode pretty soon. But I want to ask you, for everybody out there, whether it's, you know, women married or dating a man or whatever, it doesn't matter. You have a spouse or whatever. Anybody that's trying to build a music career that's married or is in a serious relationship, any advice for them?
I think just like set like expectation and like talk about goals, because like you're confident that what you want to do. Like, I think it's can be anything, like especially like music career or like art or like something, you know, like that. Is like, if that person in it is not sure, other people around you can't really commit to do anything either. So
set expectations and commit.
Yeah.
What about for all the opposite end? So that was for all of the DKs in the world. People trying to. So what about the opposite? The spouse of the person. The other end. What's your advice for all of the Kayokos in the world who has a spouse or a partner that is seriously invested in music?
I think good space and trust. Like, trust the process that they're going through. Because knowing what you're doing, like every single thing, doesn't help, I don't think. You know?
How do you mean?
Like, what you're doing, what you're gonna do, you know, what clients you're gonna take, like how much money, you know, like
being very controlling of the process.
Yeah. Like, being involved is good. Like I get comfortable, secure, but it's more like to know the direction that you're going. It's not like every step. They're like
Yeah. So you're not like obsessing. I think this is like goes into like there's a quote that says the opposite of faith is not fear. The opposite of faith is control. Where it's like have faith in the process. Like they're gonna get hurt. They're gonna have good times. They're gonna have bad times. Like don't worry too much about it. Don't overthink it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, and then also like keep it busy.
So what did you say? You also said space. What does that mean to keep space for you?
It's just like a control thing. It's like keep it distant, like have a room to like let you do what you do. It's like I'm not really close to you all the time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Like I have my things. Like yes, like I'm doing everything for my family. Like there's not many me thing throughout this year. But at least I was busy and I felt like I have purpose. Like I'm providing for my family. Like that's my focus, not like what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So like constantly thinking like when he's gonna make a break, when he's gonna, like a hit song or like I never think about those.
It's never about the end results, about the process.
Yeah.
I think hopefully this was insightful to you. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode.
Yeah, I hope that helped.
I mean, at least it was fun. At least it was fun for us. We had some laughs. It's been quite a wild ride, our marriage, and I hope that it's quite more wild in the future. Really appreciate you and everything that you do. And I'll say that publicly, but I also say it privately all the time. I'm really, really grateful. I don't think most people have. No, I'm not going to make it sound like a comparison. I'm very, very grateful to have someone like Kayoko who gives me space and that trusts me so much and has a lot of faith in my process. And I'm really grateful that somehow I've been able to find the passion to commit, that I was somehow been able to find a passion so deep that I was able to convince someone like Kayoko who seeks stability to marry someone as unstable as me. And really grateful for the pain that we've been through in order to be able to appreciate the joy that we have. I'm really excited to spend the rest of forever with you. That was really corny. I apologize for anybody that cringed. And
I didn't say anything.
Junior on Instagram says, all the Kayokos in the world are amazing. I'll tell you that, fam. It's true. Shout out to all the spouses that are supporting a spouse that is pursuing music. Shout out to everybody from both sides of the story. Like, it is really difficult. It will be. And it's fun. It's fun. Just let it be fun. Just enjoy the process. I think the only thing that you can do, Kayoko says this all the time, there's no need to argue about it. There's no need to talk about it because it doesn't, even if we figured it out, would we be in a better place? Sometimes there's no need to stress and there's no need to fear because the fear itself does not improve anything. Yeah. So hopefully this has been a good episode for y'all. We've been having some nice comments in the chat and appreciate everybody here. The internet went down at one point about 40 minutes in. We had to kind of restart from scratch there. So hopefully we lost a lot of people but in the chat, but we're back up and running. Thank you so much for listening. On that note, happy mixing, my friends. Are you going to say it? You want to say it with me? Do you know what I say at the end of the podcast?
No, I haven't listened.
You don't listen to my podcast?
Well, like, what do I learn from it?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That your husband's crazy. That's what you learned from it. All right.
I listened to like very, very first couple episodes.
Okay, cool. All right. I say, happy mixing, my friends, and stay saucy. Can you say it with me? Or you say it. And I do finger guns every time. Ready? Happy mixing, my friends.
What am I supposed to say?
And stay saucy.
And stay saucy.
Yeah.